Alright folks, I'm back for round 2. We have an okay opening hand. Let's see if I have any data on my opponent. Rin. Last seen playing 4-colored Delver in August. We're going to keep this hand. This hand isn't really super exciting versus Delver, but it's also not, like, bad. Like, we get turn 2 Stoneforge on the play. We have a Revoker to shut off a Ren and 6 that might hit play. And, like, this hand has game against things for if my opponent is not Delver. They are Delver. We will need another white source. Hey, we're so good. We want to make some play this turn that is resilient to Ren and 6 coming and hitting play. I'm playing the Crusader first, because if this gets bolted, then and my opponent has the Ren and 6 as a follow-up, then this is potentially safe. So now this Delver should flip. I'm guessing it'll flip to Lightning Bolt. Ooh, to Force of Negation. That card is not going to do anything versus me right now. So that's nice. I will probably still double spell this turn. Am I holding down the fort here? In all likelihood, I'll trade 4 for 4 damage here, unless my opponent has a Lightning Bolt. In which case, I'll trade 4 for 6 damage. I think I'm going to become the aggressor, though, in a lot of the games that I win. So, for example, if my opponent does not have the Lightning Bolt here to remove my Sarah Avenger, I'm going to get to attack for 7 a turn. So taking this hit here puts my opponent on a 2-turn clock, unless they trade away their Delver. Now, if they have the Lightning Bolt here, my turn is much worse. Did not expect the attack into Avenger here. Does that mean my opponent has another follow-up threat? Or does that mean my opponent can't beat a 2-turn clock? So this is 6 coming in. So it kind of feels like my opponent has to have like another Tarmogoyf, Dreadhorde Arcanist, or something like that that the Sarah Avenger is not good against. Or sorry, that Sarah Avenger is good against. So I almost don't want to block. Yeah, I think I'm just going to put my opponent on a 2-turn clock here. So I'll be porting them off of their red for Lightning Bolt reasons. Okay, do I need to attack with everything here? So I can basically hit for 7. If I attack with the Revoker, the Tarmogoyf becomes a 3/4, putting me in range of Lightning Bolt if my opponent both blocks and has Bolt. But I think it's fine to attack with everything. If I attack with everything, it all potentially gets through for 4, 7, 8, 9, putting my opponent to 4, making Crusader lethal, or making Serra Avenger plus a fetch lethal. So my opponent needs Red Source plus Lightning Bolt to kill me here. And I need to draw something. I'm going to take that hit. Yikes, okay. So let's think about worlds where I win now. If I hold everything back, my opponent can kill me with Delver, Flip, and Bolt. Actually, if I hold everything back, they can just beat me with Bolt, right? If they bolt the Crusader, then they have 3 bodies coming in. So I'm going to lose to a Bolt no matter what. If I attack in with both of my creatures, my opponent will trade Insectile Aberration for Serra Avenger, take 4, go to 2, attack me with Goyf, and they can jump block with Delver the following turn. If I hold everything back, Bolt or Renin 6 or Arcanist are kind of the things that I'm scared of them drawing. Let's operate under the assumption that my top decks are going to be better than their top decks in terms of average card quality, and hold back. So we'll let this trigger resolve. And port that down. That's presumably their draw. Okay. So I'm more or less obligated to make that trade, right? Or am I? If I don't make the trade, I go to 3. I can attack for 3 in the air, put them to 3, but then be dead if the Delver flips. I think I need to take this trade and hope they don't have another Tarmogoyf. Alright, do you have something to go with that Force of Negation? Slash, is that Force of Negation still there? You have a Pierce. Inconvenient for me. Okay, now the interesting question is, do I attack? I think the answer is no. If I attack and the Delver flips, I die. Versus if I don't attack and the Delver flips, I get another turn. That is one of my worst possible draws. But it will put fear in my opponent. Like, if they go for an attack that's a little bit risky, they may get blown out and just absolutely fuck Lightning Bolt. I'm going to pause here like I'm thinking. And then they're going to turn both their creatures sideways and kill me. Alright, so versus more traditional Delver now, we'll probably want these cards. So we'll go like before, Jailer out, Recruiter out, Revoker out, Prelate out, and then we trimmed one other card. It's a slightly different configuration than what I'm used to. I'm used to having one more Recruiter that I trim, which is why I'm slowing down a bit here. When I'm on the play, I think I am still supposed to leverage my Thalias. So I don't really want to go down another creature. I'm going to do a Blasphemy and trim a Vial here. I really don't like doing that. Because if you want to have it on turn 1, then you really want to be playing the full play set of them. But I just don't think it's correct to trim down to below 20 creatures in this matchup. So it's either trim a Vial or trim a piece of equipment, and all three of these pieces of equipment have important roles in the matchup. Pushing through True Name Nemesis, picking off the smaller creatures and gaining life, and stabilizing the board. But we can trim a Vial and just have one in our opening hand anyway, like a Master, and that feels pretty good. We might not even play out this Tomic on turn 2. We might slow our roll with that a bit. Especially now. A Rough Tumble on top of your deck. How about not? They do still have the Rough Tumble, by the way. They didn't search. Okay, a couple ways to play this turn. I think I just want to try and resolve my Rest in Peace here. If my opponent fetches, I'll Vial in my Thalia in response. Otherwise, in their upkeep, I'll Vial in Thalia. come on. Let me do it. Let me do it. Oh, yeah. Atomic value. That felt good. That felt good. So now, what if on the draw, I kind of do this thing where I play a more value-oriented pile like before? And I could do something like that. It's 19 creatures, but a couple of them are the recruiters. I'm not used to having like 7 cards for the Delver matchup. So normally I have double counts with double Rest in Peace, double Path. So again, not 100% sure how I want to approach this. Like, Thalia is still a great card in the matchup. It's just awkward that, like, when you turn 2 Thalia, your opponent can turn 3 Wrenn and 6, like, using the tax. Or, like, your opponent can just play it out on 2, and then you playing the Thalia into it is worse. I think this is fine. Again, these are my first reps with this exact 75. Hence why I'm not 100% sure about my boarding approach. That's a shame. We really wanted that pile. It's going to be so good with all this stuff. That's a great draw. Why would you ever bolt in response to the Stoneforge trigger? Like, you give me more information about what I should fetch by doing that. I think I just want to get the Jitte here to potentially have something that I can do as a turn 4 play. Let's jam this and see if it resolves. We know my opponent is playing Rough Tumble, so it's not like they have no outs to this card or anything. But I feel pretty safe about making the play that I did, given that I have a Council's Judgment in hand. I kind of just want to, like, deploy some cards. Like, Recruiter, get... I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to Wasteland, honestly. Maybe I am. I'm going to play it out, and then I'll decide. So, like, we'll play it this way, so we play this around days. Yes, we'll use this ability. I get a Mirroring Crusader, so that I have something that stonewalls the Goyf. I guess keeping my opponent off of True Name Nemesis is pretty big on this board. So let's keep them off of future Goyfs. And we'll just kind of like slow roll this one, playing Crusader into Jitte as our long-term plan. We're just going to take a chump block here, I think. Well, actually, let's think about that. If they don't have Force of Will or Force of Negation, I can just, like... chump block here, put Jitte on Sanctum Prelate, attack in, kill the Delver. Be totally fine. I'm not going to block. I guess I should have blocked because like the Ren and 6 ping minus is just gonna like go and kill this, but that's fine. Like if they're not getting a land back, that's fine with me. So we take out the true name here. Attack the Ren and 6 after no blocks. Pump. Pump. Get 2 more counters, and then we can port my opponent off of their red. And then we have Mirren Crusader and Batterskull to help deal with this Tarmogoyf. Another true name would be a beating here. That's not all that scary. I'll let my opponent keep making land drops, but presumably a bunch of stuff is just locked in their hand at this point. So I have 6 mana. Let's cast a Crusader. I'm fine with casting a Wisp into Daze. Because my opponent doesn't have Daze, the upside here is just stupid. And I haven't mapped it out yet, but I assume my opponent is dead to Crusader plus Jitte next turn. Alright, there we go. That one was much easier than the previous round. I'll see you back in a few.